Hello, welcome back to the Megan Dauber podcast. I am so thankful you have returned and joined me for more of the story. Like I said in the last episode, I have just gotten back from a trip with my church. We went to Ireland, went to Dublin, Ireland, and stayed in this quaint little town outside of it and partnered up with a local church in Navan and served and saw parts of the country and learned a lot. And it was just this incredible, incredible time away for me. One that I truly was begging for, but didn't even realize that. So I am sitting here today just in this space of kind of not detoxing from the trip, that's not the right word, but like coming back down off of a high, which was really wonderful to be kind of living a different life than I am normally. And without going into too much detail yet, just touching on some of the things like being removed out of my everyday life, really with like some of the burdens lifted, really highlighted where pain still exists. And that there was a lot of wrestling with the deep pain that just lives with me now. And being removed from my everyday life here at home allowed me to be like, to see how greatly my life has been affected by everything. And it was hard, but also I had such a good time. Like it was both. And coming back on the airplane was weird because I almost didn't want to, honestly. Having a taste of some freedoms in life that I don't often get. And then knowing like, okay, that was fun, but now back at it, stepping back into the world that has become your new life. Here we go. Like back to it. And I haven't fully unpacked it all, but it is kind of funny how that is lining up with me telling today the story of Michael and I coming home from Atlanta on an airplane. Like very weird how that lined up. I didn't plan any of this out. But I just a few days ago just came back on an airplane, and now I'm telling the story of us coming back on the airplane to the Norfolk airport, which I remember so vividly. And I just did it a while ago, and there are similarities of, when we were coming into land in Norfolk and how I kind of had so much apprehension and so much fear, maybe. The first time Michael and I did that together, coming back after being at the hospital, and then now just having repeated that, like landing at Norfolk, being like, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. So that's kind of weird. But it is just my reality. And I would love to share more eventually of my time in Ireland. But that's not what today's story is about. It is about our time ending at Shepherd. So let's dive in. Michael and I were scheduled to fly home April 18th. That was our discharge date. So all of our conversations the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks at Shepherd Center were surrounded by just focusing on the excitement of going home, because that is what Michael wanted so bad. Like he had a very short memory loop, right? He's going on 30 seconds, a minute, maybe we'd get 3 minutes, and then his memory would just kind of reset. So we would always focus on going home. And we had this conversation so many times. Oh, it was so much. But in the days leading up to coming home, had more visitors. We had Michael's younger sister, Sarah, come and spend time with us, which was really sweet and helpful to just have another person be there with me and Michael. And then we had his older brother, John, and his wife, Gabrielle, and 2 of their kids come through. So that was just so encouraging to have them there. And then approaching coming home, the plan was that his mom and dad would come and spend a few days with us, and they would kind of see us off on our way to the airport. And his other brother, David, I asked him to come and fly home with us because I was gonna need some help navigating the flight home. So that was our plan. The discharge process at the hospital, so that last final week was filled with each therapist giving me lots of education and lots of talks and making sure I was prepared for the going home routine. Like, we kind of had these test days where they made Michael do it all. Like, Michael had to get himself fully ready in the shower, in the bathroom, make sure he was shaving. What do you need to do with your clothes? Like, kind of giving him the test to see how much I'm going to have to be involved in things at home. We did a lot of talk through, not orientation, but I'm blanking on the word right now, but each of the therapists took some time one-on-one to sit down with me and be like, okay, here's this form, and here's all the things that you can apply for with what Michael has is an invisible disability. So there's a lot of links to disability that go along with an invisible disability. So I had to learn all about that. It was like drinking from a fire hose, just paperwork and paperwork and papers. And I'm staring at the stack of papers on my floor over there because I still have them in a stack because it was so much. Did I mention it was a lot of paperwork? Yeah. So that last week was just a lot of business. And I also sat down one-on-one with the neuropsychologist, and they went through kind of the game plan for me for the next year of Michael's life, of like, this is what we can expect. This is what we don't want to see happen. This is what we need from you. This is what we suggest for this. All things big and small. And like do not have any alcohol for the first year. Like, alcohol is a disruptor for neurohealth and all these other little boundaries. And I'm just, taking notes the whole time. Okay. And just, again, drinking from that fire hose of what life was going to be like from here on out. Our time with each of our therapists. So now these therapists have become like friends of mine. I love them all so much because, of course, I remember all of our interactions. Michael still, to the very last day, never remembered a single one of them. I took videos of each of them in their last session with Michael, where they all made a video together. So like Michael and Christine, his physical therapist, they stand facing the camera, and Christine talks to him as if he's watching it later on. And she kind of gives him the rundown of what they've done and what she expects for him to do at home. And you see Michael standing next to her in the camera, and he's just kind of being goofy. But we did that so that I could replay those videos after we got home. Anytime Michael was like, what are you talking about? What therapy? I could take him back to the videos to recall, hey, well, we worked with this person and she said to do this. And Alexis said to do this. And here's Alexis. Let me show you her. So I had, I made those videos for my therapy library at home. And it was just really sweet because I like, we had a good connection. I think Michael was a fun patient. Can you have fun patients in rehab? I don't know. But I think, he was so sweet, and in the moment, he was always present and participated, and he was a good time. He just couldn't remember them. So they loved him, and we loved them. And they were sweet goodbyes that we had. They sent him off with this special little certificate of completion where they all wrote little love notes on the back and gave him a t-shirt and just sent him off with well wishes and hugs. And it was really hard to believe that our days there were coming to an end. On the night before we left, our cousins Caroline and Hewitt hosted one last large family dinner at their house. And so I got to drive Michael from Shepherd Center over to their home, where our aunt and uncle and our other cousins were there, and his parents, who were still in Atlanta visiting to see us off. We were all together. We had this yummy lasagna dinner, and it was sweet. It was, for me to say goodbye to being with them, and then for them to see Michael one last time before he left, because it was really special to be in Atlanta with family that we don't normally get to live by. So, wrapping up a sweet time. And this is the cousin whose house I had been staying at since I had to move out of the apartments. I got the apartment for the first 30 days. And then the next 30 days, I had to find my own housing. So Caroline, like I've mentioned before, took me in. So, this is our last just hurrah together. The conversation that night with Michael was really rough. For whatever reason, I don't know if he was tired or just overstimulated, but it was really rough because he continuously repeated the same thing over and over. And I could just watch each one of the relatives' faces as Michael was talking. And they were kind of like, what do we do with this? This is hard. And I remember driving Michael home that night, and I don't remember what caused me to say something, but I'd kind of just, I'd had it. As bad as that sounds, like I was just depleted and done with, not done with patience, but my patience was wearing thin, if you can imagine that. Um, and I said something to him in the car, like, yeah, we've talked about this before, and it set him off. And I he like was yelling at me, which I thought was so interesting. And it was a 7 or 8 minute car ride home. He did not forget that I had said something that made him mad. And he continued to be frustrated with me for all 7 or 8 minutes of that car ride back to the hospital. And I remember sitting there being like, you're kidding me. You can't remember anything longer than 1, 2 minutes. But this thing, this one time that I said something I shouldn't have, you're remembering it and continuing to get mad and mad and mad about it. Like, what is this life? So, like, I took note and I just prayed and prayed and prayed that I would have better patience so that I wouldn't say things like that made him upset in the future. But also, just the feeling that I had after bringing him back to the hospital and thinking, whoa, is this going to happen at home? Like, is this like anger that is coming to the surface going to be something that I will be dealing with and my kids will be witness to? Like, it was not fun at all. It was just another thing that I didn't know what to make of it other than this doesn't feel good. And who is this man and what is happening? So that was April 17th. And late at night, Michael's older brother, David, flew in and arrived in Atlanta because our flight was in the morning. Now, I had so much luggage. I had 2 bags each and then some carry-on items. So David was there to help us through all of it. Early the morning of the 18th, we had the official discharge from our head doctor. I remember him coming in for like his final round of, all right, here's what we got. Megan, do you have any questions? And I remember just being like, no, but yes, I have a million. And still to this day, still to that point in time, he again that morning was like, we don't know what caused this. I can only be suspicious of things, but there is no physical evidence of why Mike had a cardiac arrest and why it happened this way. He did say the very last thing he said to me was, my suspicion is that it had something to do with inflammation. And I remember being like, okay, tell me more. What do you mean inflammation? But someone else jumped in with another question and the conversation never got back. So just leaving me with that, I don't know. I've kind of wrestled with that as I've tried to think like, what the heck happened? What went wrong with Michael? What caused this heart thing? But anyhow, that's just a memory that sticks out to me. So the morning of the 18th, we're flying home. David and their parents come to the hospital to help pack everything up. It's like we wait for his final vitals and his last final shot or blood draw that they were taking. And our cousin got us a car transportation to the airport. This private driver, we needed a big car to carry all our luggage. And that pulls up to the Shepherd Center, and we have said our goodbyes, and it is surreal that we are leaving and going home. I was just kind of taking it minute by minute because I just didn't really know what to make of life anymore. So Michael was in good spirits because like we were doing something right. We had to get from point A to point B, and home was the prize. So it was easy to keep conversation up with Michael because, we were all excited. It was this shared momentum of going home finally. And One thing that I didn't know, they taught me about the some of the accommodations that airlines make at the airport for disability. Like we had called ahead a few days before to schedule like a travel partner. I forget the name of it. I could look it up. Somebody from the airlines to meet us at drop off and walk us up to like a private check-in counter and walk us through a private section of security. Like we didn't have to go through the long lines. We just we had an escort taking us straight through everything, which I will say is super convenient. But Michael, with his defibrillator implant, he cannot walk through metal detectors. So um, that's kind of, we can't walk through metal detectors anywhere, like our local water park or at museums or whatever. We've got to remember to tell them, he's got a defibrillator. You can't walk through that. So we had to go through a certain um, different type of security thing, or he can get patted down manually, which has happened a few times because we've flown a couple times since then. But uh, we make it with plenty of time to our gate. And I remember I had bought first class tickets because I didn't want anything to be hard for us on the flight home. And Michael actually did phenomenally well. Michael and David sat next to each other on one side, and then I had the other seat on the other side of the aisle. And I mean, the flight to Atlanta was just 2 hours, or from home, no, to home from Atlanta was 2 hours. And Michael was great. David kept him entertained and talked to him, and it was sweet. And yeah, I remember, like I said at the beginning of this, I remember being so excited to come home, but so scared to come home, because looking out the window as we're landing in Norfolk, realizing, oh my gosh, I'm stepping into maybe the beginning of forever now. And I've got to come home, and I have 3 kids who are young. And so how much do they understand of our position? Like, are they going to be expecting me to just pick up where we left off and mommy this, mommy that, do this for me, do this for me? And because that's what's normal and that's what they need? Or are they going to have compassion and understanding because daddy is different now? So there was a lot of mixed feelings coming back. Like I was now on my own. I was a little afraid of his health. I had to set up the defibrillator thing at home. I had a schedule packed full of doctor's appointments and therapy visits and heart EKG checkups to get to. Even in that first week we were back, like, this is what it was going to mean to be full-time caregiving, and like all the responsibility was mine. And now our friends and family continued to care for us and had like meals set up and cleaning and help with laundry. So there were many burdens taken off my plate, but uh it wasn't normal. It was not. I was not going home to normalcy at all. I Home was going to now mean like space for me to continue to process and grieve as well. So no one looks forward to grieving, right? None of us want to go do that hard work. So yeah, that was me coming home from the hospital thinking like, I don't want this at all. I don't want this. I don't want this. But then like telling myself, okay, I can do this. You can do this, Megan. We have no idea what's coming next, but we can do this. So like, yeah, it was hard. Bringing Michael back home after a month in the hospital, immediately after the emergency, and 2 months in rehab, and walking through life change, and then coming back where your home is your home and things around you haven't totally changed, but they've moved on without you. And now you're plopped right back into where things are, but everything's different, but it doesn't look different. And other people are going on with their life. but you're stagnant or you're afraid. There's just, I'm not being very clear right now, but it's bringing up a lot of real feelings as I'm talking about this. We arrived uneventfully at the airport. Michael was so excited. We walk in. My dad met us in the terminal and had, brought his truck so we could fit all our luggage in it, and he drove us home. And outside of our home, there was this beautiful, well, fun, playful yard sign display that said, "Welcome home." Like, you couldn't miss it that Michael was home. It was so precious. And we came home during the school day, so our kids were not present yet, which was actually a great thing to give us some kind of like quiet transition to roll into the house. And our little dog, of course, she loves me. I'm her person. But when Michael walked into the house, she went crazy. And we have this video, I'll share it online. He sits down on the kitchen floor, and our dog will not leave him alone. She is just licking him and giving him kisses and snuggles. It's like she knew. She just had this sense that Michael needed that love and care. Like, I don't know if she could sense that his life had been in jeopardy, and now here he was, but she didn't even pay attention to me, which was odd because she loves me. So it was just the sweetest thing to see her love on him. And we had a few hours to kind of unpack a few things and settle in, and then our kids came home, and of course they were so happy, so happy to have us back. And um it was hard. It was hard, and it was a weird night in the house. And I will jump into our first week in the next episode. But yeah, I have a lot of mixed feelings, like filled with gratitude that we could be home again. And Michael just seemed better already in his home, in his element, in his space. But what was ahead of me was just so unknown that I didn't really know how to process planning or process what I should do next. Like yeah, it, transitions can be rough, right? And this one was no exception. But it physically felt good to be home and brought us a lot of comfort and joy. In our room, I talked about that last time. Our room was beautiful and a place of relaxation and rest, and that was like such a gift to me, to have this beautiful, relaxing space to call our own. Michael, he didn't really know to compare it to the old for whatever reason. But yeah, it was a lot. That's us. We made it through our time at rehab. We are now home with our brain injured husband and back to figuring out life in Virginia Beach at this point. And in my mind, so begins the story of my journey with the Lord through all of this here at home. But yeah, thanks for listening. We will be back. I will be back together with you next time on the podcast, and I appreciate you. Thanks for listening along. I'll see you soon.